Hello, my name is Jeff Stewart. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our new rule set that we're using at Faire along with the Tacoma Battle Games. Our rule set is designed to be family friendly. It's a light hitting system, which means you don't hit as hard as you can to hit them. Our primary purpose was to create the simplest game possible for as many people to be able to play. Our catchphrase is better rules for better people, meaning that we don't have to write a huge rule book to account for every single gray area. We just expect you not to be a jerk, play nice, hit light, and have fun. Okay, this is an example of one of our throwing axes that we use at Faire and Tacoma Battle Games. The purpose of this weapon is to engage somebody at range. The rules are very simple for construction. Doesn't have to look exactly like this. It's 100% coreless, meaning there's no pipe inside of it, so that you can be struck with any surface. So it's going to be 100% padded as well. And here's some things to keep in mind when performing a range attack with a thrown weapon. When inside of 15 feet, you want to do a half power throw. And of course, you do not perform melee attacks with thrown weapons. Don't be a jack.
That counts, right? Counts as a block, right?
Actually, in our system, thrown weapons such as throwing axes can only be blocked with melee weapons and shields. If you put your limb in the way, it will count as a limb hit. And actually, on a bounce, you are not dead. The weapon is dead as soon as it hits the ground. Don't be a jack and hoard loaner equipment. If you'd like to learn how to make some of our throwing axes and other gear, be sure to check out our How to Build series. Check the link in the comments. And now on to archery. Okay, we're going to cover some of the basics. So first we're going to start out with knocking the arrow onto the bow. So you're going to notice you have two different colors of fletchings, and you're going to make sure the odd color fletching, whatever it is away from the bow. So go ahead and slide it on. Snap it onto the string. Very good. And then the second thing that's very special about our bows is you'll notice there's a little shelf here. So when you grip the bow, you want to be directly under this so that the lower fletching does not cut the top of your hand or knock off your shot. We're going to cover other techniques in other videos on how to do archery and general shooting techniques. When you're within 15 feet, you must do a half draw when shooting archery. Safety! All right, Jack, let's go. You can, of course, reuse ammunition after you do a quick inspection for damage and make sure that the head is clean. Arrows, of course, can be blocked with shields. Arrows can only be blocked by shields. If you accidentally block an arrow with a sword, you'll assume that the arrow will have traveled through your sword and hit the target behind it. We do this to prevent people from batting arrows out of the air and creating a safety situation.
Don't count that as a hit! It bounced!
Now that we've talked about range weapons, let's talk about the melee weapons that are used at Faire and our battle games. We'll start out with the short sword. And this is a short sword known for its short size. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to hold weapons. So come up with a long sword. So there's several different techniques, but what we recommend is to hold the weapon. Specifically, you put your thumb beneath the guard and you tuck your fingers inside so that when you are fighting, your fingers won't be crushed by a shot hitting against your hand. All right, now let's go over a couple of the rules of working with melee weapons. The first rule is that you do not want to strike people with the shaft or pole of the polearm or strike people with the pommel of swords. You want to always strike with the striking surfaces of a weapon. And of course, this is an example of what you don't want to do is do not put the tips of your weapons into the ground at any time, or you'll be removed from the field if you're caught abusing our loaner equipment. Don't be a jack and swing your sword like a baseball bat. And as you can see, this is the correct way to use a sword. So you're engaging, but you're not pushing, right? And then you're sliding up.
So it's kind of like a zip line, how you like connect and
Yes.
you go down.
You can parry a pole arm and move it from hitting you. When blocking, do not push through and overpower your opponent. The proper way to parry is to acknowledge the hit and then start another attack. That was an example of butter knifing, which we do not allow. Each one of your attacks should be intentional. So when you strike an opponent, or if you go to strike an opponent and miss, just reset for an attack. If you miss and then drag someone across, it's butter knifing. Another example of things that we do not allow is grappling, kicking, punching. Every attack must be with the striking surface of your weapon. I'll go over the target area. So a torso shot, an arm hit, leg hit, and then although discouraged, your head is a target. We suggest bopping them on the top of the head. And a groin shot is legal. And of course, back is also a target. Don't be a jack and hit harder than you'd want me to hit you in the throat. We're a family-friendly tap system. Run.
Again?
Unlike archery, you can block thrown weapons with melee weapons. Foot on target's not a weapon because it can't.
Is that disgusting?
Don't be a jack. Hands on weapon is not a target. The person that gets hit should call their hit.
I get you. Oh yeah, sorry, right arm.
And when they're dead, they should put their weapon above their head and leave the field.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about some acceptable and non-acceptable equipment. So although we don't require padding on the shields, you'll notice that these come to a point, and this can catch and destroy weapons, and it can also harm people. We have what we call a penny round rule, which means anything that's metal or hard must be the diameter of a penny. So we look up here at this helmet, so these spikes and the spikes off the top would be examples of things that could catch weapons and rip them up. We also recommend that time you have anything hanging like jewelry, that you either have that tucked in because a sword could catch that and pull it off. This is a good example because the ties are really small. If the ties were down and had a loop when you're sword fighting, that could catch and pull your hands down, rip the ties off. So we'll go over and take a look at another style of helmet. So this helmet, the rivets are low, the grills are together. Now this doesn't count as armor itself, but it's decorative and will not harm any of the equipment. We recommend that you wear gloves if you're going to be doing a lot of melee fighting because there's a chance of getting hit in the hands. If you have gloves, make sure that they're nice and rounded, no spikes on the gloves. Belts looks good, and it's also recommended that you wear a cup. Oh, Jack, you finally got it. Congratulations. Jack, I think you're getting it.
And that's a wrap.
Oh, cool.
Action. Yeah, actually, I've hit him. Yeah, there's one.
Neither of those two.
Oh, try and cause you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be a foot. Ice cream break.
Okay, we gotta film something for the extras on the DVD. What the hell are we gonna do?
And Neil attacks.
I think we missed the overpowering and went right.
We did. We just went to wrestling.
When you miss with your original attack and then you just drag it across your opponent, each one of your attacks should be intentional. We do not want you
That's totally fine. There you go. That's too distracting.